Canada is not the heaven on earth that everybody tells you about. So you should probably think about a few of the points that I'm going to talk about before you consider immigrating. Before everyone starts attacking me and telling me like go back to your country or something like this, you have to understand that Canada is my country. I am both Lebanese and Canadian. I have this like discussion with a lot of friends, especially friends from Canada, from the States, that say like, you're here in Canada now, why are you still talking about something about like Lebanon or something, like you're Canadian. Just because you immigrated somewhere, it doesn't mean that you should get rid of your identity. My identity right now, and this is in sociology, right? Some people immigrate somewhere and then they completely take on all the values of the new place, or they immigrate somewhere and they keep their own values, and this causes them to have a lot of struggles within themselves and within other people in that new place. But some people, they integrate both, and this is how it became for me. Like I've been in Montreal for 15 years. I consider myself Lebanese and Canadian. They're both Canada and Lebanon, they're both a part of my identity, and they're my home. But things are not easy, and a lot of people, when they think immigrating to Canada, they think like things are gonna be so easy, like we're gonna get rid of a lot of our issues, we're not gonna have to worry about a lot of things, there's a lot of money and stuff like this. But it's not really the case. You have to be aware of a few things I'm gonna share with you, and hopefully it adds value. So let's start with the first thing, your family. I didn't think much about it when I first came to Canada as a student. I was doing my Master of Engineering at Concordia, here where I'm recording right now. But time goes by super fast, and I made sure that I go to Lebanon once every year so that I see my family. But then you start to notice that your nephews, your niece, like they're all growing at like a super fast rate. They're all becoming like adults, and you also start to notice that your parents are getting older. What do I mean? My father, may he live till he's 100. Like he's now like 82 years old, 81, 82, and I noticed like 3-4 years ago that he started bending his back while he's walking, and when I first saw it I was like, what's going on here? To me, he's this like boxer who's always been strong and like well built, and you realize that you're losing a lot of time with them. So yeah, family is definitely the first thing. Second, I'm not sure how to approach this topic, but racism. I feel like wherever I do right now, I'm not fully accepted as a Canadian. And when I go to Lebanon, you're not like I'm now looked at. I feel like a lot like, oh, here comes the Canadian, and you hear these kind of remarks. But I've seen it more and more right now in the work environment in Canada. There is, I want to say, subtle racism, and that's a systematic issue. What I mean is that a lot of people will appreciate your knowledge, your experience, and companies will hire you and you will have a good salary, etc. But at the same time, there is a certain like hidden glass ceiling. So you can't really go high too much in a company because, well, you're an immigrant. And I do encourage you, like if you're thinking about going or coming to Canada or immigrating anywhere else for that matter, check out the big companies, like the top 10, 20, 30 companies in that country, and see the diversity. Diversity is something that I wasn't really sold on for a while, but now I started thinking more and more about it. If you look at all the executives at the company and you see they all look kind of the same, and then you have one woman and one person of darker skin, just for diversity, you feel like you're looking at the college brochure. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, here's our university. We're gonna put one person of each so that you see that we are diverse. Well, it's actually 90% of certain people. I did that. I looked at some companies in Canada, and I even used ChatGPT to do the parsing and like to look at the senior executive leadership. And you will see, I saw a lot of things, like especially at the company where I was at. I started to notice, oh, wait a second, there's no racism. Our team is really good, and it's really open, and you have freedom of speech and everything. But at the same time, if you go to the leadership level, then you will notice that, yeah, it's a lot of like people that are from Quebec, Italians, and like there is a certain theme to things. There is a reason, like I didn't think about this before, but you see a lot of immigrants, they leave the country and they succeed as entrepreneurs in the new country where they live. I used to think, okay, it's probably because we are risk takers, but yeah, that's probably one of the reasons. But at the same time, what if these immigrants, they didn't find enough opportunities for them to grow up the corporate ladder, and they decided it's a better way to start their own company? And I think that's the best way actually you can grow. If you ever come to Canada, get the experience that you can get, and then start your own company in Canada. And this way you can grow, because otherwise it's gonna be really hard. I mean, of course, I do have an accent. It's not that bad, but still, I have it. And I feel like I'm always gonna be that Mohammed. Last but not least, money. There are a lot of opportunities, but it's not like what people think. If you are an employee in Canada, you're gonna get good money. Like if you have higher education, you have good experience, but it's not as much as you think, because the taxes are crazy. We're getting taxed, what, 35-40%, something like this, and then you go to buy something and you have to pay more taxes on that. You're getting taxed on the money that you're already taxed on. Yeah, so there are a lot of expenses. Again, I believe the best way is to go down the entrepreneurship, the path, start a company, start a consulting practice. This way you can control or have better control of your revenues, of your income. But that's just my 2 cents. At the end, I really love it here, and this is where I met my wife, in this university. And we have 2 amazing kids. We have a life here in Canada, but at the same time, I can't help but feel that I wish I knew what I know now, but 15 years ago. And this is why I did this video. Take care.